So a couple days ago, I reported on a concern that people have surrounding Ubisoft accounts where it was presumed that Ubisoft may very well delete all of your games if your account is inactive for too long. Ubisoft has since responded and have insisted that that's not, in fact, the case. So here's everything you need to know about that. Back in July 19th, 2023, Anti-DRM tweeted this image that showed Ubisoft issuing a warning about potential account deletion. The subject reads, Ubisoft account closure due to inactivity, and they stated right here that we notice you have not been using your Ubisoft account associated with the following email address, so we have temporarily suspended your inactive Ubisoft account, and you have 30 days to reactivate it by using this link right here that's hidden. And the claim that was made is that you will essentially lose all of your purchased games forever because the closure of the account means that all of your purchases will be gone. Ubisoft responded essentially confirming that this email is legitimate, and they said right here, we certainly do not want you to lose access to your games or account, suggesting that losing your games is entirely possible with this account closure. There were even responses in this thread claiming that the user lost their account and all the Ubisoft Steam games attached to that account. Concerns were certainly palpable, especially considering that on Ubisoft's official website, when you look at the closure of inactive Ubisoft accounts page, it reads right here that we may immediately close inactive accounts to comply with local data protection legislation, things like the GDPR. This is only if we have strong reasons to believe that the account in question will remain unused. And then on top of that, if you go to legal.ubi.com, there's this segment that reads, we may suspend or close your account and your ability to use one or more services or part of the services at any time automatically and at our sole discretion where, and one of the bullet points reads, upon notification where your account has been inactive for more than 6 months. The combination of the vagueness surrounding what is considered reasons that would lead Ubisoft to believe that your account is and will remain unused, combined with the fact that the window is only a short 6 months, according to this terms of use here, that got people pretty concerned about purchasing games through Ubisoft, given that they may not be safe. Now, ever since these concerns began to spread, Ubisoft has been trying to do some damage control, and as part of that, they actually updated their closure of inactive Ubisoft accounts page. Before, it used to look like this, and they declared that they may close inactive accounts to comply with legislation if they have reason to believe that the account will remain unused. Following all of the backlash, that segment has now been replaced with this. Here's what the page reads like now. Inactive Ubisoft accounts with no PC purchases or active subscriptions tied to them may be closed in order to comply with data protection laws after long periods of inactivity. They emphasize here that the only time they'll close accounts are if they're both inactive for long periods of time and there are no purchases attached to them whatsoever, meaning that if you've purchased even a single Ubisoft game and that's attached to the account, then at no point will Ubisoft terminate that account. Accounts tied to an active Ubisoft subscription or an activated PC game, no matter where it was purchased, will not be eligible for deletion. No matter where it was purchased means that even if you bought the game through Steam, if that game is connected to your Ubisoft account, then that account will never be deleted. But then they do say right here that we may close long-term inactive accounts to maintain our database. You'll be notified by email if we begin the process of closing your inactive account. Notice how they have two categories of account closure, one being to comply with data protection laws and the other being to maintain their database. They specify that when it comes to closing accounts due to data protection laws, if there's a PC game attached to it, then they won't close it down. But in this segment right here, referring to maintaining their database, they don't specify that accounts with PC purchases attached to them will never be closed. What I'm trying to get clarification on is if this rule of accounts having PC games bought and attached to them will not be eligible to be terminated applies to both of these conditions where they're trying to comply with data protection laws and where they're trying to maintain their database, or whether it specifically applies to complying with data protection laws but not account deletion due to maintaining their database. Does that make sense? Now, it is once again emphasized here that if your account has been flagged as inactive and you want to keep using it, you can cancel the account closure. You'll get an email from Ubisoft with a cancellation link. But as I said before, that's not a good safety measure because emails can easily be missed, be it because people are not active about their Ubisoft accounts or because those emails might go to junk and whatnot. It is possible for people to miss that 30-day window where they have the opportunity to click on the link that will cancel the account closure. This is just something that people should not be worried about. They paid money to purchase these products. Those products should not be able to just go away on a whim. That possibility just makes a purely digital future when it comes to video games that much harder to justify. Now, to provide further clarification, Ubisoft reached out to a number of news outlets to provide a statement on this. So this is IGN's coverage of this. In an email to IGN, Ubisoft clarified its stance on account deletions. The publisher confirmed it has for many years now deleted inactive accounts in accordance with the EU's General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR, on how long companies are permitted to store individual personal information. The company claims its policies are aligned with legal requirements and with the standards of the industry, and that they also serve as fraud prevention. However, Ubisoft also clarified its criteria for account deletion, noting that it absolutely does not include accounts that have purchased games attached to them. These are the bullet points that they highlighted. These are factors that Ubisoft takes into account when they want to decide whether an account is too inactive, whether it should be terminated completely. The gaming activity of the account since its creation, the account's libraries, accounts that include purchased PC games are not eligible for deletion. And apparently the fact that this segment is bolded was Ubisoft, who in their email to IGN emphasized this particular statement. But I'll once again ask, does that only apply to when they're trying to comply with data protection laws, or to both this as well as when they're trying to maintain their database? Beyond that, here are some other bullet points. The duration of inactivity of the account, meaning the last login to our ecosystem, including from Ubisoft games on Steam and other platforms. In practice, says Ubisoft, as of today, we have never deleted accounts that have been inactive for less than 4 years. And finally, the existence of an active subscription tied to the account. Now, this bit right here is important. We have never deleted accounts that have been inactive for less than 4 years. I don't know how legally binding that is. That's just something we have to take their word for, because if you look at their terms of service, technically, they're allowed to suspend or close your account if your account has been inactive for more than 6 months. And this bullet point here, they're not committing to never deleting accounts that have been inactive for less than 4 years. That's just in practice, but at any point, they can technically decide to close accounts as long as they adhere to this specific bullet point in their terms of use, is at least how I'm interpreting it based on what is on paper, what is, legally binding based on their terms of use and the conditions that Ubisoft has laid out. Now, it's worth noting that this is not the first time that Ubisoft has outlined these specific bullet points. Recall, and I covered this in my previous video, that back in 2021, there was a situation where somebody, a user, a Norwegian gamer going by the name Tor, claimed that after they took roughly a year break from PC gaming, he was unable to log into his Ubisoft account. He then proceeded to try to reset his Ubisoft account's password, but logging back in, he discovered that the account had been closed and all of the Ubisoft titles attached to it, hundreds of dollars worth of purchases, were completely gone. According to Tor, Ubisoft told me they can't recover the account or its games. It's deleted, permanently blocked. But back then, Ubisoft officials insisted that this case isn't normal and that it has never deleted any account that hasn't been logged into in less than 4 years. Exactly what they stated in their outline here of bullet points in regards to conditions surrounding account deletion to IGN. And Ubisoft also insisted back in 2021 that any account that has a purchased game tied to it would not be up for closure at all. This is all from late 2021. This specific article was published on December 15th. A few days later, on December 18th, 2021, news outlet NME also covered the situation, and they actually quoted Ubisoft exactly. The bullet points here, if you read them right now, are exactly the same as what IGN provided years later in 2023. Or I should say roughly 1.5 years later, from December of 2021 to now July of 2023, or almost August of 2023. Either this situation right here where Tor's account was deleted really is just an outlier, a bizarre case where his account was deleted for reasons that aren't normal, or Tor did something that somehow violated the terms of use and that's how his account was deleted, or Ubisoft is putting these bullet points out there to try to save face, but they didn't really adhere to that when they deleted Tor's account here. The thing is, Tor does have the receipts. This is an image of the email that he got from Ubisoft warning him that his account will be closed in 30 days unless he clicks this link that reads cancel account closure, which happens to be the exact email that this Twitter user anti-DRM God. Literally, it's the exact same text. And this is one of those situations where Tor did not see this single warning email that Ubisoft sent because he was taking a break from gaming and because emails like this are easily missable. I personally don't feel like this is Tor making stuff up. This feels like a legitimate situation, and it's cropped up once again here with anti-DRM. And so while Ubisoft fully insists that accounts that include purchased PC games are not eligible for deletion, it doesn't feel like that always necessarily holds true, whether it's Ubisoft intentionally not adhering to their own criteria or some kind of error in their system. Whatever the case, the fear of one's digital library of Ubisoft games getting permanently lost and all of those purchases getting lost and resulting in wasted money and time and all of that progress getting lost, that fear is real, especially when none of this right here has been implemented in Ubisoft's legal terms of use document. So yeah, it's hard for me to fully trust in Ubisoft's insistence that accounts that include purchased PC games are not eligible for deletion. But at the very least, we did force them to update their help page. And if they don't adhere to this, people can point to, hey, this is what the website said. This is what they publicly told media outlets. And so on some level, Ubisoft could be held accountable for that. So at least there's that. But I don't know for sure what Ubisoft can or can't get away with. But I'll keep a close eye on this. If there are more reports of situations like these and Ubisoft isn't making reparations, then we're definitely going to have a problem. Hopefully, Ubisoft is committed to ensuring that, quote, accounts that include purchased PC games are not eligible for deletion. And if Ubisoft is telling the truth that Tor's case isn't normal, Ubisoft will work with those individuals who experienced these unusual cases to ensure that they get their accounts back and don't lose the games that they've purchased. But when Tor tried to contact Ubisoft support about his account deletion and this whole situation, the response that he got was, if the account is closed, there is no way to restore it. The answer he got for having hundreds of dollars worth of games deleted was, sorry, bud, tough luck. So even if the case with Tor was a system error rather than Ubisoft breaking their own rules and their own criteria that have been publicly stated, it doesn't change the fact that if you happen to be unlucky enough to experience this particular error or this particular unusual case, there's no guarantee that Ubisoft can make reparations. So that's still not encouraging. That's still not going to make people feel safe about purchasing Ubisoft games. Time will tell how all of this develops, but for now I figured you should have the full context of this situation, what Ubisoft is saying and what folks who have experienced account deletion are saying. At the very least, the widespread reporting has garnered enough attention that it forced Ubisoft to provide some kind of response, that it forced them to update their closure of inactive Ubisoft accounts page to be more specific. It does mean that at the very least, they probably know that they won't be able to get away with it as much. So maybe it'll become less likely that situations like these will happen because Ubisoft might know how much trouble they can get in if more cases like these are reported. I'll keep you guys updated on future developments surrounding this situation. But for now, let me know in the comments below what your thoughts and opinions are on this whole situation and issue, and whether Ubisoft's clarifications, statements, and insistence recently have assuaged fears and concerns, or whether you still are reserved about fully trusting what Ubisoft had to say. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.